Jeremy, I know in some past games you guys maybe wouldn't get off to the best start. It's certainly about finishing, but boy, in both halves you guys came out hot and with a lot of energy. What did you notice that maybe before that it might turn out that way, or what did you see tonight to where you guys came out so fast?
Well, Robert, we talked to the guys before the game. Utah State is a veteran team, and they had been wounded and lost 4 games in a row coming into today. And when veteran teams come into an arena such as this with their back against the wall, if you don't attack first, you could be in for a long night. So, as coaches, I think you try to prepare the guys as best as possible to attack, and then, the guys got to go out and play. But I thought, without a doubt, our energy to start the game, and then really I thought a big key was when they tied the game in the first half. Our guys really didn't back down. We were able to finish the first half with a great spark, even with Larry getting a couple fouls. And I think the finish of the first half really led to our great start in the second half.
Coach, what did you see from Josh today? Obviously having one of his best games. Just what made him so effective penetrating and doing just everything he was able to do?
Mike, one thing that we really stressed to the guys before the game against this particular team was we needed to attack them offensively. We call it attacking the rack. But with that said, we had to be smart and not force the issue. And 2 stats that we as a staff measure that by are did we make more free throws than they attempted? Because that's a method of attacking. And we went 18 for 21 at the line, and they were 8 for 13. But I thought with that attack mentality, we played very smart, and we made the extra pass. And what can you say about 15 assists and 5 turnovers? I think they really showed their poise, and especially down the stretch when we kind of needed to run some clock, they really picked and chose when they wanted to attack.
It also seemed like you had a really good sense of, especially after Utah State tied the game, you had a really good sense for where to kind of get in the passing lanes and stop them, especially in the paint.
No, I thought that, from a defensive standpoint, our guys were pretty locked in on what we needed to do and some of Utah State's favorite actions. They hurt us in the first half. We stopped their initial action, and then they would clean it up with a down screen, and they got a couple key threes that got the game tied. So one thing at halftime that we stressed with the guys was one effort's not good enough against these. You have to make multiple efforts. And I thought in the second half we really did a good job of finishing plays and making those multiple efforts.
Jeremy, what did you see with Josh's, the flagrant 2? And does that, with the flagrant 2, is he going to be able to play Wednesday at New Mexico, or what are the rules on that? Can you go through that, please?
You know what, Rob? I really didn't see. I only saw. I don't even know who it was. I saw somebody land on the scores table, and obviously we had to call the team over. The officials were awesome to work with today, and I know that that decision's out of our hands. It's out of the officials' hands at this point. I think that's something that the league office needs to take a look at it, and I'm sure that they've been through this before, and they'll give a fair assessment of it.
What did they describe to you as what happened?
They didn't. What they did was they called us over together, and they just said, you get to pick your shooter to shoot the personal fouls, and then we've assessed they called it a flagrant 2. So they said we've assessed 14 with a flagrant 2. Unfortunately, he's going to have to leave the building, and really that's all they got into it. And then, I was informed it's a conference decision at that point.
Coach, just how important was it too to have as much variety as you guys did with scoring? When you got 4 guys in double figures, obviously, and then you had points where Granberry was scoring and Hankerson. Just how big was that all across the board for you guys?
Yeah, different guys stepped up in different key times. I thought DC was awesome. That's the Derek Cook that we've been waiting for a while, and one, to have him play 30 minutes, 2, to finish plays for us and grab 8 boards. The 11 points to me as a bonus, but our staff definitely felt that Derek gave us a great lift with his energy. I thought the poise of Josh and Riley, between the two of them, 11 assists and 3 turnovers, that when Utah State started, turning the pressure up, they were going to pick and choose when to attack and when to, hey, we're okay, let's just run some clock and get the best shot we can to, whether it was Larry or Josh attacking. And I thought they played like seniors tonight.
Jeremy, where do you think that maybe that Derek Cook was before? I know he said you guys as coaches were getting on him maybe for his energy level. Was it that? Maybe was his confidence waning a little bit in these last few games? Where was that old Derek Cook?
Can you ask him to come back, please? No, Derek wears his emotions on his sleeve. He's a very passionate player, and he's a very energetic kid. I think that, we talked after the game about, sometimes when your teammates get on you, it's because we see your potential. We see how great you can be. And I was really proud of Derek tonight. He played through some fatigue, but he again, I can't say enough about what he did defensively on, Jared Shaw is one of the best, in my opinion, offensive big men in the Mountain West. He does it inside, he does it outside. And we threw Larry at him a little bit, we threw Derek at him a little bit, but I thought they did a phenomenal job of just making multiple efforts and, really limiting his touches and good shots. I don't know if 4 points is a low for him this season, but it's got to be down there. And I thought our guys really paid attention to detail and made that a challenge.
Facing that size at New Mexico on Wednesday, with the way Derek played, how big could, no pun intended, but important could that be to get maybe his confidence going again? Because you'll need some size Wednesday night.
And again, I know that's something we as a staff always harp on. You guys probably get sick of hearing it, but it does start with defense. And the 11 points from him, it was more being, in the right place at the right time for some drop-off passes and some dunks. He's good at dunks. And but defensively, it'll be key because obviously, if Kirk's back and Bearstow, they're two of the premier big men in the league. We're going to need, a team effort again. And game in and game out, I think Jerron's had to guard some bigger guys, but by committee, we're going to have to go into a hostile environment. And the only way you can, come away with a victory in an environment like that is to do it as a team, which is what they did today.
Jeremy, could you talk a little bit about the resiliency of this team? 2 tough conference losses to start, then you go out and beat Boise. Tough loss the other night, one that slipped away, and then you come back and have your biggest win in conference play this season. Talk about that.
It drives coaches crazy sometimes, but the great thing about these guys is that 30 minutes after this win, they'll forget that they even played a game today. And 30 minutes after a loss, it probably kills us. They've moved past, they've already gotten past it. And I think that, in a nutshell, that's what's created the resiliency, because they're able to move on. We always ask the guys, don't let one mistake lead to another. And I think this team is really good at moving on to the next play, whether they had a great highlight dunk or maybe not the best defensive or offensive possession. They're able to move on to the next play, and if one guy on the team isn't able to, the other 4 can remind them that, hey, there's a lot of game, and I think that really adds to the resiliency of this group.